All right, so we getting ourselves a game 7. See, we can count. We did it. Anyway, okay. Oh yeah. Also here with the baldy and the arms and the guns out. And you know why I got the guns out? Not cause of James, but I don't have a joke for that. Anyway, so game 7, the Pacers blew them doors off of Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City just looked frazzled, frustrated, flustered, fumigated, and to be honest, I did not. I was like, I did not see this coming. I would have thought the Pacers would have played. I thought they would have played a hard game and possibly won. I was like, to be honest, I was like, even though J Dub went crazy and I thought they could have won last game too. They just had some turnovers when they were trying to get back into the game, despite Halliburton's calf injury. Which, hey, despite Halliburton not really playing tonight, they came out and they was. I was like, it took a minute, but once they was out and they was ready to go, it was a wrap. I thought like one of their mistakes from last time that they didn't seem to fall in that situation this time was T.J. McConnell, because I was like, I thought the burst that he gave them in the third quarter last game, and they really didn't play him at all in the fourth until it was damn near too late. That I was like, I thought that here they did a lot better with his minutes. I thought they played Halliburton really well. The minutes that they played him, and once they sort of like was on a rhythm, they let him stay out there as long as he was good. And then they kept TJ, and I was like, then they were able to play TJ pretty much the rest of the fourth quarter and stuff. I was like, everybody came up. I was like big in their own way, from Toppin to Siakam and stuff, and they just and my whole thing that I'm glad that they didn't do is let Oklahoma City get back into the game. Like don't get me wrong, that first 6 minutes or so in that third quarter was really just like there was a little bit of missing shot and it was just bad basketball. But the thing is that worked in Indiana's favor, because while they were missing, Oklahoma City was also missing. So therefore they didn't really lose anything in any of that situation. I also liked the game plan that Indiana really had here too as well. And I was like, to me, I was wondering how long it was going to be of basically, okay, those two dudes, they'll do it, but what about everybody else? And that's where I did not really see. Like, I picked Oklahoma City in 6 games. Obviously, we have passed 6 games, and the Pacers are the ones that look like they got the momentum going into Game 7. Who knows? Because I was like, Oklahoma City always does really well after coming back after a blowout victory, because they always seem to get blown out in this type of game. I thought there would be more blowouts in this series, but it really wasn't. But we'll save some of that for the recap, I guess, after Game 7. But I guess the thing that I did not account for is how well the Pacers defense would really get, while also not seeing that Oklahoma City supporting Cavs really isn't that. I thought these teams are really close in their mirror images of each other in ways, and I think that still is true. But I do think that for the Pacers not really having a star player in that type of way, I was like, yes, Halliburton is a star as far as we like know who he is and stuff like that. Siakam as well too, former champion kind of guy, but not Shea of MVP and J Dub and Chat. I was like, and then it's like, so then you look at their support cast was sort of like, but they got Mathurin, you got Nimhard, you got Turner, who's been okay this series, Obi Toppin. I was like, you got so many people that you can sort of play through. T.J. McConnell. That when you really do look at Oklahoma City, that it's like, if their defense ain't on, and they are, and I was like, no lead is safe really anymore, but they don't, to me, have the firepower to get back in the game that someone like the Pacers necessarily does, or whatever, where they got so many more pieces, I think, that can spread the ball around and get involved into the game. Whereas, like, And also too, thank God, it was like they would let Lou Dort shoot, because there was some time in that previous game where they would get on Lou Dort and leave like Jalen Williams open, and I'm like, no, let Lou. See, and that's one of them things too that I was like, I hate where like percentages and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, this person's a 43 point, I was like 3 point percent shooter, and I was like, that doesn't mean that they're a good shooter. Like, yes, I know we go by the numbers sometimes. It's like, oh, they are really shooting the ball well this season. I think that's a different statement of they're shooting the ball, they shooting the ball well versus they're a good shooter. And Lou Dort, something about it, I'm like, let his ass score. I was like, there's only two people that can really get their own shots on that team. Everybody else, screw them. Let them all try to figure that out. Or you let those two. I like, see, the problem with letting them two get like all their points. That's different than like how people guard Joker and they like Joker score all the points but don't let him get any assists. Is that those two dudes can also go for 40 each, and you just need somebody else to just sort of come along or whatever. But they did get them in the turnover game, where it's like they were the ones getting all the turnover. I was like getting disrupted and getting calling turnovers, and Oklahoma City just, I was like, cause I think Shea had eight turnovers or whatever. But I was like, I think that's what I estimated in this series, and of the supporting cast, whether it's Wiggins or whether it's Dort, Caruso, that it's like Chad's not having a good series. Is that though all these other people aren't really, they're good supporting cast, but they are also the same victims to me that they were playing with everybody else. Where it was the Timberwolves or where it was the Nuggets, that to those teams it was a lot, but they really are the same team as those, where it's like they got like one or two players, and then you got to really count on the role players, and everybody else's role players really fell off except for Oklahoma City. But then when you play against a team where all their role players are really high-end role players, that is like any one of them can beat a hot man tonight, it's a different ball game than when it's like you just got role players who are just like, please hit 3 shots in a row kind of players. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, so I was like, but they came out all gas, no brakes, yada, I mean, and just basically put their foot on Oklahoma City and then wouldn't let go. And I'm glad that they did that, because I hate when it just like, it seemed, I was like, cause you always see where it's just like, man, they're somehow they're taking the foot off the pedal, and I was like, they wasn't. They kept on going, and it, like I said, they were missing shots for a while, but they was causing them to also miss shots. And don't get me wrong, I was like, they said they were like in the commentary was like, oh, they're missing like open threes, and I was like, yeah, but some of the open threes were really just, they were either about Dort, or they was forcing threes in a way where it's like, that's a force, that's not your game, that's not how y'all play, that's not the situation. Whereas like with Indiana, it's like, oh, they're just missing their shot. Cause I was like, that was a good look, that's how they play. They're just missing shots until Halliburton got them back going. Yeah, so here, anyway, we go to a game 7. Is it anyone's ball game? I think that Oklahoma City might. I think they're gonna have to figure out some things. I was like, I do. I think they started playing a little bit. They're playing rough as hell with Chet, with his small ass body. That's what they're doing. And I think they're getting Isaiah Hartenstein away from the board a lot more and stuff like that. And it's like, if he had, and they're also doing Oklahoma City playbook of swarming. Like, Shea gets the ball, they are double teaming his ass fast. I even think with Isaiah, they're sort of doing that as well too, just because I was like, he's a really good passer. So I was like, they sort of taking the paint out of Oklahoma City book. And the thing is, none of them dudes are gonna hit shots. And it's like, you're just basically gonna, double team Shea, or you gonna just like live with him just taking up the whole possession pretty much. And it's like, cool, you get your shot, but we're gonna over here pass the ball, cool, find a shot, we shoot a 3, whatever, call the turnover. I like the way that Indiana's playing. That I think that Indiana will make it out. I think Oklahoma City will turn it up, and it looks like they about to do their thing. and beat Indiana that. And I was like, but Indiana just sticks around, stays around. And I was like I said, they could have. I was like, they had a chance to go up 3-1. They had a chance to win last game, I think, as well too. I was like, I hate where people sort of just like, I was like, don't actually talk about how sometimes the game goes, where it's just like, it's like, yeah, like they made it sound like Oklahoma City had the whole thing and the game was never close. I was like, no, the game was close, and like 4 turnovers changed the whole game, but they was in there in that fourth quarter. But anyway, we'll see how Game 7 goes. Who knows? Might even be a little stream to it. But anyway, that's it. Out.